Well, we did get some new parts in today for the Ruckus. We're going to focus mainly on the front end in this video. I've got some new NCY forks here. These are 16-inch overall length. The forks I had on there that I just sold were 13 inches in length, so they were a little bit too low. Trying to achieve a little bit of ground clearance with this, and a combination of that and a rear shock to help me give some clearance for my header, because when I'm down on it, I've got about an inch and a half of clearance, and my left turns are disastrous. Alright, we got some more parts in today. We got the Adelin levers, the magnetic drain plugs from Roll & Wrench, as well as the PROBLD brake line from Roll & Wrench as well. It's the quick disconnect, so let's see. Anyways, it's quick disconnect, so you can actually take this line apart, and there's not supposed to be any kind of fluid loss or air able to get into your system, so you can take your wheel off without having to bleed your brakes and take all of it apart. But yeah, so that was a little pretty penny. I think it was like $80, but I think it's well worth it. But yeah, we're about to get ready to put this on. I'm still waiting on the headlight mount, as well as I had to order some bushing spacers for the bike, so they should be coming in within the next week. I should have this back up running by next weekend. Alright, so we're back at it again today. We have got our spacers for our wheel, the right sizes to get it lined up just right. And we also got the headlight mount in. You probably saw that on the previous video if you're on Facebook. But I also got a 90-degree banjo fitting, which I'm not sure if I'm going to use or not. I might just use I think this 28-degree banjo fitting right here. I've got a lot of extra cable, but I hadn't ran it completely yet. So we were going to figure out where to put all that extra slack. But today we'll be installing the front fender. As you see, I've already got the NCY forks put on. Those were super easy. You just take your 4 pinch bolts apart, slap them on there, and I've got the wheel and the brakes set up already, sitting in between my forks ready to go on. I've already mocked this up before I took it back apart. I'll be putting everything back together for you. But I'm probably not going to go over too many specifics as far as like torques or anything, or really like, this is a video just for a show off of what I'm doing to the front end. It's not a tutorial video or anything, but if you learn something from it, then hey, that's cool. As you notice down here, I've also got a wheel speed sensor ready to go with my brake line. I'll be tying all that in together. I was hoping to use this mount point, but I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. We will see. And yeah, might switch the sides around, because this is the quick disconnect side of the brake line, and the 28 degree is up there. I might switch it around. I'm not sure. I'm going to contact them and see if that's even doable. But let's get to it. Oh yeah, just go ahead, slip it right through them legs. Get it in there. Force it if you have to. Oh yeah, now line everything up. Get it all nice and tight so it goes right up in that hole. Oh, you need 2 hands. Oh, you need 4 hands. Oh, how interesting. Now shove it on through there. Get your hands off of me, I only want you. You're such a big boy. Oh. Alright, so I don't know what the torque is for the front axle bolt, but we will put that in the video, and I will get back to retorquing that. But we're going to go ahead, cinch this down, and get everything lined up, and see what we got here for the moment. That way we can adjust our brake line, and we may even still need to adjust our caliper probably once all said and done. Alright, so we have the front end together. Grom fender on with the Rough Country LED headlight. I still need to paint these brackets for the fender because they are raw and they are starting to get some surface rust on them. I'm gonna have to either adjust my bracket or wear these brake pads down a little bit. They were doing that before. Maybe once I put fluid in the line, it'll start acting right. But I'm not gonna be able to use this mount point. I'm gonna take this back off for the moment. Though I am gonna throw some heat shrink over the connector for my speed sensor. I'm going to run the speed sensor up with the brake line, and I've cut me off these little slivers of heat shrink, and I'm probably going to put one right around this area, one right around this area, and one right around this area to keep them all nice and tucked together, and it'll just look nice. But let's go ahead and do that, and y'all can see the end result. And we are done. And I finally just decided to keep the quick disconnect down here for easier wheel changes. And we're running the brake line and the wheel speed sensor together all the way up into the battery box. I think it looks really nice. Those are adhesive on there, as heat shrink usually is. But yeah, guys, that is the whole setup. I've got a frame cover coming from the Ruck Shop here in a few days. As well as a case brace, a unipod air filter, and some grips, and I believe that's it, something like that. But yeah, guys, almost done with the front setup. Just another update for you, and I'll keep them coming as much as I possibly can. Forgot to mention about the Adelin levers. As far as the finishes go, if you have the cable lever, it's going to be a different finish than the hydraulic lever. You can see that's nice anodized looking finish, as this is just raw, which it bothers me a little bit, but if I ever go with rear disc setup, I guess it'll be changing anyways, and I'll have to sell that one, so it won't matter. But we did get those installed, got the brake line and the throttle cable lined up, and we're good to go. The only thing we really need to do is tighten down this end of the brake line, make sure we've got it in the perfect spot that we want, and we'll be filling up that reservoir and bleeding our brakes, and we're going to take it down the road, get those brakes wore in, and maybe we'll be road ready. Also, I've got the valve cover gasket to do today as well. It come in, but that's another video. It's not going to be in this video. Just doing an update on all the front end parts that we did. The only thing I really couldn't do would be the front frame cover, but you know, you can't have everything in one day, I guess. Yeah, it looks good. I think it looks good. I guess the brake line could be a little better. I might add a mount somewhere up in the battery box or right there on the back side of the forks eventually to help stabilize it so it's not moving around, because it just floating free like that is not, it just don't feel right to me, because I'm used to having my brake lines tied down to my front fender on some kind of mount point. And unfortunately, with this setup being on the left side of the bike, I cannot utilize the actual brake clamp for this fender. If I had enough room, I was going to run it over here and then up, and I might still have room to do that. I'm not sure, but I'd have to cut some of that heat shrink loose for the moment. But if it ever changes, I'll probably update from then on, and then we'll see how it goes.